through which the people of Kenya can get best services. So I said from the word go that I know it is not a walk in the park. It is not a walk in the park. There are many challenges, but we must overcome the challenges so that we can be able to achieve that. And that way, all of us will be successful. That is the reason why today, this morning, we have our team from the EACC. I, together with the DIGs here and DCI, in our meetings, we agreed that we need to have the EACC with us so that the EACC can actually be able to look at our, can actually be able to examine our systems. It can be able to examine our processes, can be able to examine our practices, the practices that we normally carry out on a daily basis, can be able to look at our procedures of work in the National Police Service, and advise us if there are gaps that are allowing corruption to take root, they are addressed. We are just going to be given that final report. We will, all of us here, implement the final report. That this is, after examining your systems, this is what we have found in A, in B, in C, in all these areas. And if you can be able to minimize these gaps, for example, you will have minimized corruption in specific areas. If you can be able to improve on this particular area, you will have enhanced the ability of the service in a big way, and so forth and so forth. So that is the reason why we have invited the EACC team to be with us so that they can be able to assist us achieve what we want, so that they can be able to look at our stations. They will tell us that, you see, this kind of practice is what is breeding a lot of challenges, a lot of problems. They will look at the IG, the processes, our systems. They will tell me, this is where you have problems. This is what you need to do. They are going to engage the DIGs. I think this is going to be done maybe later today, so that you have a discussion on the systems. It's purely a discussion on how things are. And then that way, because they have got the expertise, now they can be able to give us a report. And we can now, we as the people, we as the responsible commanders of the National Police Service, we can be able now to implement the report to the best of our services. They have done it in a number of counties, in a number of government organizations. They have done it in Murang'a County. And when they did it in Murang'a County is doing very well, because they did close their gaps, and now it is serving the people better. They did it to the county that Makueni, some years back, when Kevuta Kebwana was the county, the governor there. And even to date, Makueni is doing very well, actually, when you compare it with other counties. And many other government organizations that have actually been examined, they have allowed their systems to be looked into. And that way, they offer better services to the people. And you see, we want to achieve the same, to offer better services to the people. So how do we go about it? By ensuring that we are also guided by other experts. And I remember when I took over, I did indicate that I am ready. Mine is an open door policy, whereby everybody is welcome, actually. If you have got anything that you can be able to offer, to guide, to assist, to support, we are open for that. So we are ready to work with the EACC. We are ready to work with many other donors there who are out there to support us. They only need to be told that these are the areas that we want to support you, and many other good things that are out there. So basically that is the reason why I thought that on top of our discussion that we have had here, you can also have an opportunity at this level, the EACC, now to introduce you to what we are planning to do. And I also wanted to dispel it, that it is not an investigation in any way. No one is being investigated. Nobody is being investigated. We are only looking, they are only looking at the system. And finally, they give us the report, because the report belongs to the Inspector General. So that way, we can be able to achieve maono yetu. Si ni kweli? Yes. we will be able to achieve maono yetu. Akienda GSU, they will look at the gaps, they will look at the systems, they will say the GSU can perform better if these areas are addressed. The BPU the same. They will look at the training colleges here, that this college can be able to provide and train better if you do ABCD. On top of what else is also happening in these institutions. So that is basically why we have them here, because it is a team that we have called so that you can be able to work together. We want to work together with everybody. I'm never happy. Every other time I hear that there is a traffic officer who has been arrested collecting bribes out there. Hata nyinyi mnasikianga baya. Sifurahi mtoto wangu akiniambia, "Ai, umeona hiyo video nimekutumia?" You know. And you see, hawa watoto wananitumia as a matter of urgency. Hey, it's not fair. See, it's not very fair when you see that Daddy, umeona hii, unajua hii watu hii wanasema wanaokota pesa walete huko juu. Sasa huko juu waga ni wapi? Sijui hii juu ni gani? Wapi sasa? Because every time you see we are collecting so that tunapeleka hii juu ni gani? Wanapeleka mbinguni. Hii sijui bwana. Wanapeleka mbinguni. But sasa inatuletea shida juu ukinunua hata jacket mpya ukinunua hata kagari na uko na uwezo wa kununua chuali, we suspect imeanza kumfikia sasa. You know, see, it's not fair, eh? And maybe even my children at one point or the other they might think that unajua Daddy anaweza kuwa pia anafikiwa hata amenunua shamba pale. They don't know me nimepewa road na cooperative ninunue shamba hapo. No, sir, they can't understand that. So we must kick out corruption in the service, ni kweli, so that we can be able to do our things in dignity. We want to educate our children in dignity, ni kweli. Nani anataka kueducate mtoto yake na pesa ya corruption? Who want to introduce watoto wake kwa corruption? Hapa iko mtu, watoto wako somesha na pesa zako, so that usiabukize ho shida hata kidogo, si kweli? Usilete shida kwako tafadhali. So we must agree kwa kauli moja that corruption, we must root it out. We are the commanders and we have an opportunity. You have my support. You have the support of these commanders. Jana, and I'm sorry to say this, you can just imagine, on a Sunday, I am from church, I normally go to the church early in the morning, nimerudi nyumbani kwangu kunywa chai pole pole, then mahali nakaa natumiwa picha ya polisi akihogwa hapo kwa gate mahali mimi nakaa. Sasa inaeni gani sasa? Chwe. And then you know what they do? On a Saturday I was somewhere else and I was briefing the media on our plan in terms of eliminating corruption in traffic and so forth. So inaletwa mimi nikisema, alafu inaletwa polisi ile na tena kwa gate yangu huko. That's too unfair, honestly. It's just too unfair. And that is why I'm thinking the best thing that we are going to do now, tukipata polisi yote ya traffic anahogwa, what we will do, my friend, we approach that base completely. Tukae hata bila. Tukae hata bila. Na tulete masegeri hata. Because so that now it becomes the responsibility of the base commander na watu yake kuona ya kwamba if ako na corrupt officers ndani yake awatoe na mape, arudishie mimi, aniambie sasa hawa bili hawa iko shida, mimi nitachukua zile askari yangu, I don't know what to do with them. Lakini kama wewe utaendelea kuweka stoko kwako, then we will punish wewe pamoja na your base yote, we will uproot it, because these officers, they want to carry out a dignified service. We cannot carry out dignified services wakati watu wananiamkia sade na mimi nimetoka kuomba, wananitumia vitu vile watu yako wanasidi hapa ije kwako hapo. That's too unfair, honestly. It's too unfair. It's not right. Na mimi nikiona hata ni watu askari ya zamani wasee, sasa mimi nashindwa kwa niko Kwa hii society yetu imeharibikia wapi? It's not right, isn't it kweli? So we must think about the issues of corruption ya polisi. Hiyo lazima tufikirie sisi. We are the commanders. We have been given an opportunity by God himself. We have been given an opportunity by the president of this country so that we can be able to lead the service. Ni kweli? In our different capacities, in our different roles, we must collectively root out corruption because inatuharibia, si ndio? I'm not a very happy IG when some guys start calling me, na hii watu yako wanakuharibia. Na vile unang'ang'ana, you see, sasa. Ndio watu wa IG. Hii watu ya IG. Wanakuharibia, sikia, wanakuharibia na vile unang'ang'ana. Sasa ina ni gani tena? Unaona, hiyo it's not fair. So sisi wenyewe tutachukua hatua kali vile base ile inakuwa involved, kwa hiyo we uproot it. Kwa kwenda kabisa, hatutaki hiyo mchezo. Iko police officers wanaweza fanya hiyo kazi na wafanye vizuri. Si ni kweli? Yes, let us be fair and just in the course of our service. There are no special police officers. All of us we are police officers. I'm also a police officer. From the rank of constable to where I've reached. Si ni kweli? Kwa hivyo hakuna kitu sielewi ya hii polisi. Na nyinyi pia mmekuwa namna hiyo. Na wale waliweza kuingia at cadet level pia tuko pamoja sisi wote. We have been working this journey together, si ndio? But we feel pain when we see this service being demonized by a few of us. It is not right. And yet, this service have got the hardest working police officers. Officers who work selflessly, 24/7. And yet, that service is ruined by one or two officers who are just selfish. We must honestly stop that. And we are going to be proactive on that. Hiyo mpaka ijulikane mzuri kabisa. Watu ya traffic mjue namna hiyo. Mimi, I have said, I will and I will continue to operate within the frameworks of the law. But any person who is operating outside that law, then atasimama peke yake, including corruptions. Muriyo mwisho anasimama peke yake. Hatutakubali. Ama nyinyi si mnaniunga mkono kwa hiyo? Yes, hatutakubali. This service is too important for us. I was employed at the age of 19 years. Go and look at the records. 19 years. I have served diligently for the last 40 years. Kwa nini tuharibiwe? See, I have given the best for this country, sio? It is my motherland. It pains kuona askari moja anakuja kuchukua shilingi 3 hapo akiharibia kila mtu, sio? That's unfair. And we should not allow that to happen, sio? Yes, I am sure madam, wakati uliandikwa huko na nywele nyeupe kwa kichwa. Ulikuwa na nywele nyeupe? Arafu. Si umesikia? Yes, sit down. So, I am sure hawezi akakuwa na furahia akisikia ati vile mambo inaendelea namna hiyo. Ni kweli? Because she has served actually. She has given the best to this country. She has given the best to this service. And then you hear that some few officers there, they think that they can be able to enrich themselves. Hatukubali, sio? Lazima tukatae. Maneno ya hongo lazima tukatae. That is the only way this service can be able to offer services and effective services to the people of Kenya. We feel pain when people are complaining. This phone of mine is full of complaints. Kuna mahali ingine niliambiwa hata pick up haiwezi kapita. Jamani. Pick up, having a pick up is a big problem. Hata ile mpya. Yes. That is how. So, tumalize hiyo maneno, si kweli? Na nyinyi mko na uwezo ya kumaliza hiyo maneno. Remember, mimi mwenyewe ndio nilirudisha traffic mahali iko saizi. Tukakuwa we created that position of the traffic commandant and the entire structure so that we can be able to root out the issues of corruption. But that does not mean that traffic does not remain responsible to the commander, to the regional commander, does not remain responsive to the county commander. They must remember that they are not operating. Yes, they are not operating in a separate system. No, our system is one. Si kweli? We are only making it easier for them. Ama namna gani? Yeah, so that one must be remembered at all times. Otherwise, ikianza kwenda Murama kidogo, tutarudisha huko kwa regional commanders so that they can be able to continue managing it. Yeah, yeah, if that is what is required to be done. Otherwise, it's a great morning that we congregate here once again in furtherance of the intended processes of examinations to the systems, policies, procedures, and practices of work in the National Police Service. First and foremost, I take this opportunity to appreciate the good work you are doing across the various parts of the country. I say this taking cognizance of the fact that we are just from a very busy festive season over which our collective efforts ensured that our country enjoyed peaceful and secure Christmas and New Year holidays. For this, I thank each one of you and kindly pass my regards to all the police officers for their patriotism and the commitment to duty. Last week, we had a very, very important meeting that laid the foundation for the examination exercise in line with the National Police Service strategic objectives. It is important to note that the initiative comes after the launch of the National Police Service Strategic Plan 2023-27, which provides a roadmap for further transformation and modernization of the service. Owing to the aforementioned, we thought it wise to have this meeting so that the entire top leadership in NPS can get to understand the examination process, what is expected of each and every commander, and the ultimate value from their undertaking. More to that, this day gives us an opportunity to reflect on a number of operational matters regarding national security, as we have discussed. As I mentioned earlier, we are all alive to the fact that corruption is not only a product of lack of personal and professional ethics, it also manifests itself as a product of manipulation of systems, policies, procedures, practices, besides outright corrupt practices. We have seen cases where even very junior employees get access to organizations' systems, and with the aid from other crafty characters, end up siphoning and furthermore amounts of money from the public coffers. A vivid example is whereby in some departments, ghost workers get enrolled and keep drawing salaries of huge amounts until someone raises a red flag. These are some of the indicators that qualifies the need for both internal and external checks of our systems, practices, and processes in line with the government's clarion call on zero tolerance to corruption. Fellow officers, the exercise being conducted by the EACC is not an investigation. It is an analysis whose outcome should help each one of you in fulfilling Article 244B of the Constitution of Kenya, which mandates the National Police Service to prevent corruption and to promote and practice transparency and accountability. Inasmuch as police officers are called upon to enforce the law, it is critically important that we also put our house in order. As such, I call upon you all to give the needful support to the examination team so that we can attain the intended goals. Remember, similar exercises have been conducted in other organizations by the EACC, and the implementation of the resultant recommendations has been noted to reduce corruption significantly and also to increase efficiency and effectiveness in service delivery. For far too long, the National Police Service has been tainted as one of the most corrupt departments in Kenya. And whereas the surveys have been based on perception from various persons, it should concern all of us that the efforts by many very hard-working police officers are overshadowed by the tag of corruption. Out of this, there are individuals who see proceeds of corruption in every valuable item owned by police officers. This is contrary to the fact that majority of police officers are true patriots who render selfless service to the country. The gallant men and women who spend an unimaginable time away from their loved ones in very unsafe and unconducive environments just to ensure that there is peace and security in the country. Unfortunately, we also have a few officers who have notoriously acted contrary to the oath of allegiance, leading to naming and shaming of the entire service. In efforts to curb the malpractice and also to improve on service delivery, we are embarking on several measures, including a very robust digitization program. So far, we have established technical teams that are working around the clock to see to it that borrowing from best practices that have worked well in other countries. We can also customize and automate several policing services in our country. To start with, priority areas includes the occurrence book and the instant traffic fines. In the due course, it shall be explained how the rollout will be done, including the needful training, sensitization. Mine is to call upon all of you to rally behind the NOMBO program and also to be champions in managing the change that comes with the automation programs. As a people, we are all set to benefit from seamless and timely access to policing services. Ladies and gentlemen, for the last several months, we have conducted training for various cadres of commanders. We started with the station commanders, then sub-county police commanders, and also county police commanders. The capacity building efforts are deliberately designed to standardize and optimize services across the various areas of deployment in the National Police Service. I envision a future where a commander from DCI, APS or KPS can be deployed to either of the service and perform his or her duties perfectly. Besides the commander training programs, we continue to standardize capacities across all ranks. Further to the above, we have also engaged several external partners, including Kenya School of Government, who will be adding value to our training initiatives. On matters welfare, I urge you to be at the forefront in promoting the well-being of our officers under your command. Even as we rally for support at the headquarters level, it is important for you to be keen on matters that could be bedeviling police officers in your areas. This includes drugs, substance abuse, mental wellness, financial strains. We all know how these are related to underperformance at work, and indiscipline, hopelessness, and even suicidal behaviors. I call upon all commanders to do what you can at your levels. A report launched by Nakanda the other day, for example, clearly raises concerns on matters drugs preference in the universities. Remember, a sizable number of police officers are also students in the very institutions. Therefore, even as we continue with the crackdown on drugs and illicit brews, let us also take good care of our police officers. On operations front, I must applaud all police officers for the gains we continue to make in securing our country. This is against the many challenges we face, including the concerns with leased motor vehicles, and generally from cattle rustling, terrorism, drug trafficking, and the other organized crimes, especially in towns, crime levels have been brought down remarkably. This is a product of your hard work. Going forward, we must not relent on efforts to pin down criminal elements. The cases of femicide, for example, could be more of a societal problem. But as police officers, we must put maximum efforts to ensure that the culprits are arrested and prosecuted successfully. Equally, terror, drugs, human trafficking syndicates must be broken and the perpetrators brought to book. The success in these efforts in your units and regions will reflect your output as a commander. Finally, I call upon all of you to continue discharging your duties firmly and fairly, without fear or favor. As I have said many times, all that is required of a police officer is to execute his or her mandate within the frameworks of the law. That alone vindicates him or her from blame and necessary condemnations. Even as we continue to cooperate with oversight agencies, no police officer will be victimized for performance of his or her duties in accordance with the law of the land. I will not allow that to happen. I will not allow that to happen. I will not allow any officer to be victimized and has been operating within the frameworks of the law. I will not allow. We all appreciate that enforcement of the law is not something to be liked and embraced by all. But then, it is our calling to safeguard the public from ill-intended individuals. Therefore, we must out there and do the right thing for our motherland. With those very many remarks, I wish the entire National Police Service fraternity a prosperous year 2025. Thank you. Thank you very much.